Marriage rituals around the world. The topic that I chose to research is how marriage rituals are used around the world and what they consist of. Marriage rituals are used all over the world and they vary from culture to region. When looking into them, it was hard to pick only a few countries and their traditions. Different cultures have different ways of officiating weddings to even arranging them. When looking into marriage rituals from the Mountain Jews or the Jews of Caucasus, I found that they look at them as a rite of passage in the classical sense. My quote was, "Marriage rituals are an important type of ritual and are included in the classical definition of rites of passage coined by the anthropologist Alfred Van Gennep, Stuart Strathland, 2011. Rituals have been used for centuries and many people take pride in them when getting married. While many take pride in them, some reject the idea of conformity and go in the opposite direction completely." The second culture that I studied to find marriage rituals was the Hakka community in Sarawak, Malaysia. When looking into the rituals, I found that they were more traditional than the Mountain Jews. To start, in the Hakka culture, ancestors are an important part of the wedding. They are brought into the worship of the wedding and is thought to be a communal and personal reassurance to people that the marriage will work. Another quote was, "The main reason behind ancestor worship is to invite the ancestors to come and witness a marriage and then solemnize the marriage." Fern 6. This helps the ancestors to feel they have something to give to new couples and keep the tradition alive for generations to come. The traditions start the day before at the bride's house, beginning with a worship ceremony and ending at the groom's house. The bride has many restrictions on the day of the wedding, starting with the fact that the ancestors shouldn't be worshipped on that day, and that's why they do it the day before at the bride's house outside. Another quote was, Turner 1969 calls this the powers of the weak, whereby there are many restrictions on what can and cannot be done despite what appear to be honorific treatments of welcoming the bride. Fern 7. The bride is thought of as honorable on her wedding day, but she has more restrictions than anyone, and certainly a lot more than the groom does. The officiant of the wedding is a medium who is trained in wedding rituals. After completing the steps with the ancestors, that is the end of the ancestor worship ceremony, and the second part of the wedding begins. The next day, early in the morning of the actual wedding day itself, the groom's family will perform ancestor worship, but this is done differently from the bride's way because the ceremony is held inside the house. Fern 7. After the ceremony, they continue on to the wedding where the rituals aren't as significant and incorporated as much in the ceremony its actual self. There have been times when rituals have been performed wrongly and the effects come not long after. For example, one grandma was left out of a ritual and the bride began seeing her the night after, and eventually they had to go and perform the whole ceremony over again so that she was incorporated in. The ceremony is symbolic to the couple and helps put them at ease about worries they may have. Another quote is, "Marriage marks the beginning of another episode of events that shapes the future of the villagers in this Hakka community." Fern 12. It is also used to pray and in a way ensure that they will get the outcome of the marriage, whether that be the gender of their children or how long they will be married for. There are many more traditions that could be talked about, but these are the two that stuck out to me the most.